Hey everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with y'all all the books that I've purchased over the last 2 weeks. I do want to make a little bit of a disclaimer on my absence. I did mention in my June TBR video that I wasn't going to be able to read much in the month of June because I was going out of town. I went back to Washington for 10 days and then I came back and my husband was back from training and I hadn't seen him in 3 weeks. He wasn't allowed to have his phone, no phone calls, no texting, nothing. So I spent time with him and then we celebrated our anniversary and then it was Father's Day and I barely read, so filming was like the least of my worries, but I'm getting back onto a routine now. I do have lots of videos coming, and again, I'm sorry about the lack of videos, but I'm human, so it is what it is. Anyways, let's just get on with the video. So when I was in Washington, I went to Walmart, not to look at books, to look at other things that we needed, but I just made my way over to the book section and I found 3 books there, and then I went to Half Price Books and found a lot of books, and then I went to the bookstore in the town that I used to live in because I had some credits and I got 3 books there, and then I will include my pre-orders that I've ordered that I've gotten and already read. Let's just get into it. So the first book I picked up from Walmart was Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. This is the old cover. I know that they just recently came out with a new cover, so when I remembered that after I bought this one, I went on Amazon and I bought the second book to match this cover. It hasn't came yet. It says it's shipped. A lot of people have been saying that they ordered it because the picture was the old cover and they received the new cover, so fingers crossed I get the old cover. And then I don't think they changed the cover of the novella, which I hope they didn't. I haven't ordered that one yet, but I do plan on reading this very soon. Next, I picked up We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This book, I made sure that the second was also available in paperback because I hate when I have a series and one's hardcover and one's paperback, so I made sure I could get the second book in paperback, which I can. So I have not read this. I'm reading this very, very soon. The last book I picked up from Walmart was The Tattooist of Auschwitz. I did already read this. I will talk about it in my June wrap up, but I recently read this one and I'm not going to get into like my ratings and stuff because that's obviously what my June wrap up is for, but I do plan on reading the other 2 books in the series and also getting them in paperback to match this one. Next, I went to Half Price Books and I found 14 Ways to Die by Vincent Ralph. I haven't heard too much about this book, but I have seen it quite a bit on my Goodreads feed when it was first coming out. I haven't seen too much about it now, but the cover is very intriguing and I'm very, very excited to read this. I also will be reading this very, very soon. Then I found The Chestnut Man by Sauron. I'm not even going to attempt that, but I was going to read this month, but I don't think I'll have time for it, so I'm going to add it to my July TBR. And I will say my June TBR and my June wrap up are not going to be the same because I went book shopping, so I was like, I'm more interested in reading my newer books than the ones that are already on my TBR. So we'll try again in July and see if my TBR matches, but highly unlikely. But yes, I am excited about this one. Haven't heard too much about it. I do know that it's a horror novel and I'm really excited about it. Next, I picked up The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth. I read The Younger Wife earlier this year and I wasn't too much into it. It was okay to me, but I have heard that this one and The Mother-in-Law are much better. So when I saw this on the clearance rack for $5, I definitely had to pick it up. It's a hardcover. It's in pretty good condition, I'd say. It does have a little bit of writing on this part, but that doesn't bother me. As long as there's not writing on the actual pages, then that's fine. So I am excited for this one. Next, I found We Begin at the End by Chris Whitaker. I haven't heard too much about this. Kind of the same as 14 Ways to Die. When it first came out, I heard a lot about it, and it has okay reviews. Same with this one. I haven't heard too much about it now, and the reviews, they're kind of mixed, so I'm excited to form my own opinion on it. I don't know when I'll be reading this one. Hopefully before 2022 ends. I would like to go into 2023 with not many books unread on my bookshelf, so we'll see. Next, I found The Sweetest Remedy by Jane Agaro. If y'all remember, I read Ties That Tether by her earlier this year and absolutely loved it. I had this is added on my book of the month TBR, but when I saw it in store, I was like, I'm gonna get it. It's cheaper than what I would get it as an add-on in book of the month anyways. So I'm really excited for this one. Kind of like Ties That Tether. I went into that one not knowing anything about it, and I'll be going into this one not knowing anything about it. And that's just more fun to me. I do know it's a romance, so I'm excited for that. Next, I found Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. I'm very excited for this one. I have been wanting to read this one for a while, so when I saw it, I obviously had to pick it up. It's also on my TBR for Book of the Month, so I was going to get it as an add-on eventually, so I obviously got it at Half Price Books where it's not as expensive as an add-on. But to my understanding, this is about a college graduate. Oh, she recently completed her PhD in astronomy, which is super cool, but she goes to Vegas to celebrate, and I guess she just wakes up one morning and she's married to a woman, something along those lines. I don't know. I'm very intrigued with it. When it came out February of 2021, everyone was talking about it, so I'm a little bit behind, but I'll finally get to read it, so I'm excited for that. And I'm pretty sure that's all the books I got at Half Price Books. That was like 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago at this point that I went, so I can't remember too much, but I think that's all of them. And then in my local area, there is a $1 auction page. It's like eBay, but it's local, and someone lists something and then you start at $1 and then you have 24 hours, and then if you win, you get it. Kind of how eBay works. Anyways, I got 2 books from there. I got The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby Dare. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but just like Honey Girl and The Sweetest Remedy, it's been on my Book of the Month TBR for a while, so I was really excited that I got this one. The lady that I got it from said it's a really good book, which I have heard that it's really good, so I'm really excited for this. And then I also picked up A Good Marriage by Kimberly Mcgrath. I haven't heard too much about this one, but it was Book of the Month and it's a thriller, so I bid on it and I won, of course. So I don't plan on reading this anytime soon, but I will read it before 2022 ends. And then for my June box for Book of the Month, I chose Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. I've never read any of her books before, but I know that she's a very well-known author. This comes out in July, so I'll probably read it in July. It's not on any future TBRs, but if I have time to get to it in July, I will. I'll probably add it to my July TBR, but at this point I'm kind of feeling like TBRs are kind of a waste of time because I'm becoming more and more a mood reader. Like, I used to have a list of all the books I wanted to read, and then I would read them, and then if I completed it, then I would read a book that I wanted to read. But now I'm becoming such a mood reader that I'm not really sticking to my TBRs, and I think that's kind of a good thing, but like also kind of annoying because it's like, I don't know how to describe it. But anyways, I'll still make TBRs, but because when I make the TBR, I put on the TBR the books that I'm in the mood to read at that moment in time, which July is 31 days, so it's going to change, but we'll see what happens. I did pick this one, and I had 2 add-ons, which I'll show you. My first add-on was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I do have the audiobook for this one, which I did mention in my June TBR because I know it's really sciencey, and I think having the audiobook will help me because I'm not a sciencey person. But this book has really good reviews, and I cannot wait to read it. It was on my June TBR. I can tell you right now it's not going to be on my June wrap-up, but it is what it is. I'm going to try to read it in July. My last add-on was All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I did not realize that this book is as thick as it is. I did already read this, so I won't talk too much about it because it'll be on my June wrap-up. But yeah, this was my add-on for June. Then I have 3 books that I picked up at my bookstore that used to be in the town that I lived in that I had credits at. I picked up 3. I got A Man Called Uwe by Frederick Backman. I'm really excited about this book. I've heard amazing things. There was another Frederick Backman book, but it had a sticker on it. And while I was walking around the store browsing, I was trying to peel it off to see if it would leave a residue, and it was gonna, so I put it back. I don't remember what it was. I want to say Beartown, but I could totally be wrong. Actually, it might have been that grandma one. Like, my grandma told me to tell you something. I don't remember the full title, but I think it was that one actually. But yeah, I got A Man Called Uwe. I do plan on reading this in July. Next, I picked up The Silent Sister by Diane Chamberlain. Never heard of this one. I will tell you that right now. Never heard of it. And last time I picked up a book that I hadn't heard anything about, I hated it. But I just decided to give this one a try. I had credits that I was trying to use up completely. I didn't. I still have $10. But that bookstore, there's mostly mass market paperbacks, and I can't do mass market paperback. I would need a magnifying glass just to read it, and it doesn't look pretty on the shelf, and I'm just way too particular to get mass market paperbacks. So when I saw this, I recognized the author. I don't recognize the book, but I thought, why not? I'll give it a shot. I have a credit, so technically not spending any money. I mean, technically you are, because when you have a credit, you can only use 50% of your credit, and then the other 50% has to be cash or card. So technically I did spend a little bit of money. I think I spent like $7.50 on it. It's not terrible, but I mean, we'll see. I don't know when I'll get to this one before 2022 ends, like I mentioned. The last book I picked up was The Last Flight by Julie Clark, and I know that this was a book of the month that was on my TBR, so when I saw it, even though it's paperback, it didn't really bother me. So I know that this is a thriller, and doesn't have like really good reviews. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a 3.7 or higher, which to me is not bad. So I mean, we'll see. The cover's intriguing, and I saw it and I was like, sure, I'll get it. And it's a thriller, which I am a thriller whore, so we'll see. And then the last books I'm going to talk about are two books that came out in June that I pre-ordered that I've already read or are currently reading. So the first is Can't Look Away by Carola Lovering. I just finished this one, so I'm not going to talk about it because it'll be in my wrap-up, but I really wanted to read this book because I read Too Good to Be True by her last year and loved it. So I definitely wanted to try this one, so I pre-ordered it. It does bother me a little bit that it wasn't a book of the month, so now I can't have my two Carola Lovering books together, but it is what it is. And then the last book that I pre-ordered that I'm currently reading is The House Across the Lake by Raelee. I started it during nap time, so I'm on page 112. So yeah, this will be on my June wrap-up as well. So those are all the books I picked up recently. I definitely am on a book buying ban now. I told my husband the only books that I'm going to buy are pre-orders, so I already pre-ordered The It Girl by Ruth Weir, which comes out on July 12th, so I'm excited about that. Oh, I also have All Your Perfects novella, Finding Cinderella, I can't remember. I have that coming on Amazon as well because they changed the cover of that and I wanted it to match my All Your Perfects cover since I found the old cover, which I vlogged that kind of, so I'll post that up above somewhere and down below. But I do have that coming, so hopefully that one is the old cover as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!